starts off as two immigrant parents coming from the island of Jamaica. They had me here. I am the firstborn here in America. And we grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn, New York. I grew up with such humble beginnings. I didn't have the latest sneakers. I didn't have the newest clothes. I had a lot of hand-me-downs, actually. And I remember I had to fight my way through school until I got suspended too many times, and my mother said, enough is enough. And she put me in a high school that was for business careers. And when I got there, I had a guidance counselor who for some odd reason took to me. And one day I was in her office and she said to me, while I was sitting there with baggy clothes on and big earrings and no makeup, she said, I think you should be in a beauty pageant. My mom thought it was a fantastic idea, but she said, Michelle, you're a little rough around the edges, so I'm gonna put you in charm school. The only problem was we were financially not well off. My mother was working 2 jobs at the time. And so this guidance counselor helped me raise money, 1, to go charm school, and 2, to be entered into the Miss Teen USA pageant. I graduate from charm school and I move on to the Miss Teen New York pageant, and you know, it was quite an experience, and that's the moment in which I turned from caterpillar to butterfly. I started working on Wall Street actually when I was in high school. That was the high school that was for financial and investment banking careers. And when I graduated, I got a good job on Wall Street, and I was doing okay, you know, doing exactly what checks the boxes. You have to work a little bit harder, right? So that's what I did, because I thought that's what the right thing was. And then one day the market crashes. Little did I know that the phases of my life would go from peak to trough in a matter of a year or 2. I had a friend that invited me to Dallas for New Year's. She said, Michelle, you know, I know that you're going through some tough times. Just come with me, come to my sister's house, take a break from New York. And we came to Dallas, and then we drove to Houston on New Year's Eve. And we partied, and we went to church. Well, actually, we went to church, and then we partied. And then she decided that she wanted to go skydiving. And I said, that's cool. I'll come and support. I will come, support, take pictures. And long story short, I end up jumping. Needless to say, 4 months later, I moved to Houston. I started pounding the pavement again, and I interviewed for several different jobs down here. I was flying back and forth, and I got an offer for a company, a very large company. And when I moved here, it was the week of that large company's oil spill. And my offer was rescinded. And what everyone needs to know is I didn't have any friends here. I didn't have any family here. I left my comfort zone, my security blanket, everything that was familiar to me in New York. So it was Labor Day weekend. I will never forget it. I bought a one-way ticket to go back home to New York to say, you were right. This isn't working out. I'm coming back. We'll figure out how to get my things. And I remember I was in the corridor of the jetway. I had scanned my boarding ticket with the agent, and my phone rang. And I remember, you know, prior to that, I had been interviewing tirelessly with so many temp agencies, whatever could pick me up. And I remember the call came in, and it was the hiring manager from a company that I had interviewed for saying that I got the job. I was fortunate enough to work for an awesome leader who later became my mentor. And she took me to lunch one day and she asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I told her I wanted to be a speaker, an international speaker. I love speaking. And she said, well, what do you love speaking about? And I said, I like showing people their potential, helping them move out of their own way, move past their fears, because I'm a walking example of that. My life is an example of that. She said, well, you are a good speaker. I've seen you at work and how you do your presentations, but what would make you a better speaker, what would make you a great speaker is if you were an author, if you were to write a book. And 3 years later, I gave birth to my book called The Invisible Chameleon, Shifting, Changing Your Colors and Reaching a Desired Goal. And I started that book and stopped the book and life happened. And it's interesting because the first chapter of the book, I talk about a breakup. Here I am today. I am a published author. I'm a motivational speaker. I have excelled in my career far past than what I would have if I stayed on Wall Street. I have bought my first home, which again, I went from losing a home to now owning my own home. And I'm happy to say that while I haven't had my first international speaking gig, I have traveled the world. And to date, my stats are 6 continents, 37 countries, and 111 cities. So I'm a walking example of a rose that came out of the concrete from the streets of Brooklyn, New York, to here in Houston, where I am a successful entrepreneur, successful in my career as an HR professional, successful in my life as a happy person. You know, I always wonder how people define success, but for me, it's measured in happiness. How happy are you with your life and how at peace you are with your life. So just because your story started one way and you were supposed to have a narrative that is totally different than what you envisioned or what your good looks like, doesn't mean you can't have that life. This is me. This is my shift. This is my story.